What's up? What's good? Let's get it. Nah, y'all, I had to, cause I was like, I don't even know what happened, but it's alright now.
What are you doing? I
Well,
was kidding. You know that? Oh,
you never know with this, and I'm fairly still very unfamiliar so with this technology. I'm gonna keep it 100. So, let me get this right and exact. Peace, FBA. What's happening? I had to get this thing right because when I first came on the first two times, it was weird, man, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even going to a whole. I'm not gonna give a whole explanation, but you know what I'm saying. I'm good money because I had to do a little research and then just kind of search through my content. But I don't even have nothing controversy going on. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't come on here with no nonsense. I'm just sharing with you the first two times I went live tonight or attempted to. You know what I mean? It did something that I never seen, and then so I had to just do a little some brief research, and it's good now apparently. So, but yeah, I just wanted to come forth real quick. You know what I'm saying, on a quick check-in. You know what I mean? You know, wasn't able to get to that work in terms of the working out on camera the way I like, but I definitely like to show up and get some quick dialogue, communicate, and so assure the community. You know what I'm saying? That I'm definitely, you feel me, on deck, here, alive, well. Had an awesome workout tonight, or earlier today, I should say, not tonight. We well into the later evening right now, of course. But I definitely got a fantastic workout today, and yeah. So why not, just come forth real quick. I mean, they talking about this whole storm situation. Um, I don't doubt it. If it's to the level of what they expect, we'll see. And at the same time, I'm excited. I don't want to necessarily deal with a ton of snow, of course, you know what I'm saying? But once it happens, and if it does happen, I already know, how my energy is going to gravitate toward it. And so if it does happen to the capacity that they're dictating or determining or whatever you want to, whatever they claim it to be, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready. I'm super duper ready for sure. So I'm definitely I'm ready. I got my shovel on deck, and I'll definitely I'll be out there shoveling. You know what I'm saying? I'd already have something lined up. So, I'm super active, and it's just another workout to me. It's a reason, and it's one of the biggest reasons to work out. So I will be out there, you know, with the however many inches of the snow, of the snow. You know what I'm saying? Word. But yeah, y'all. Like I said, I had an awesome workout today. A lot of plyometrics, and then I just ended it off with some bench pressing. Been super active lately in general. A lot of my workouts are done after the workday hours, so it's just really a lot of personal time. You know what I'm saying? That I've been, doing doing my workout. If you hear the noise in the back, that's my son. Just, take it easy, but I can't stop him from doing this thing. Go ahead, play. I ain't tripping.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But right now is the time to prep for the summer. Still very fresh in the new year. So if for those who made that New Year resolution, if you will, or just committed to yourself that this will be the time, and if you haven't already, get to it. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to share that and give that feedback if you may need it. You know what I'm saying? You need a reminder. I'm here to tell you, get to it, get to that gym. Right? Before you know it, March will be here, April will be here, the warm weather will be here, and those are those seasons where it's time to come out with the t-shirts, and that hot weather going to require you to wear less garments. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, you know what I'm saying? The time is now. And it ain't just for the season. It's a way of life, and some people it's just for the season. Some people it's for the way of life. So, and that's just me. You know what I'm saying? Salute, Games brothers. Salute. You already know.
You have nothing. What? I have to run.
Salute. Yeah. Yes, Chris. That's my name for sure. Word up. How you doing, bro? Word. Good to see you. I appreciate you for showing up in the chat. Definitely. But yes, indeed. I'm alive, my brother. The games they definitely don't stop. They definitely don't stop. And that's why, whether I'm actually working out or, we having a mental dialogue, and that's what's most important, that mental exercise. And, that's first. You know what I'm saying? That's first for our minds to be right. And, so when we're partaking in the exercise itself, we get the best experience, so that's what it is tonight, so whether I'm working out or we could just get some exercise with the mental aspect, that's what it's about, for sure. Yeah. How to gain more stamina? You gain more stamina by doing those plyometrics, doing those burpees, doing those mountain climbers, doing those sprints, doing those jogs with the 20-pound weight vest. You know what I'm saying? You get more stamina when you do that time under tension. When you do those box jumps. You know what I'm saying? When you do those jumping squats. When you take very, very short breaks in between your sets. That's how you build your stamina. User sound like a user. Tell Give me some understanding on that. When you said that, users sound like a user. Bring, bring some understanding on that so I can add on. How are you? Yo, I'm good. You know, I'm great. You know, and I can always be better. You know, I can always be better. You know what I'm saying? I'm always working on me again, yo. So when you're talking about the mental, I'm always, you know, keeping my mind right. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, you got a troll named User in the comments, bro. No profile, of course. You don't have time to entertain that. Yeah, for sure. I got you. I ain't even. Yeah. I seen that. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah, I ain't. Yeah, you know I ain't entertaining that. Definitely not. Definitely not. And plus, you know, and the thing is too about that, right? When it comes to such individuals, you know, you gotta come better than that. You gotta give me something to where I could respond. And you know, so when you coming with that type of talk, I don't, you know, certain trolls out entertain, but it gotta be something worthy. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta give me something to really, you know, respond, so I can give you that good response, right? So I could turn that troll into a follower. So I could turn that troll into a support. So I could untroll them. You know what I'm saying? I've done that before. I've untrolled people. You feel what I'm saying? Because I'm definitely not gonna be the one to, you know what I'm saying, debate you, or you can't get me caught up in the realm of where I'm affected by it. You feel what I'm saying? Because the thing about it is, and I've always said this, and just the fact that we talking about a troll, you got people trolling in real life. You know what I'm saying? People that's really trolled by people that's trolled, unfortunately, by people that they really you know, consider as a friend, you know what I'm saying, and or somebody that they consider as having their best interests at heart, and they really don't. So when we, you know, talking about a troll, I feel bad for the people that have these trolls in real life, and they don't know that they're actually a troll, and then also having an actual a real negative effect, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So you see it all day, and a lot of that trolling lead up to some very unfortunate circumstances. You are. But anyway, I've had trolls turn into subscribers and change their lives. That's a fact. User is right, indeed. He is not lying.
4, 3, 2,
you do be going.
Call me Batman.
Yeah.
It's Hulk. It's the Green Hulk.
But yeah. So it's a beautiful start for me. I just wanted to share with y'all a little bit too. I've been on my salad game, but I've said that before, you know, but I've gotten back on that. I'm just feeling, you know, I wanted to share with the community and y'all. I've just been, you know, I'm feeling real healthy. You know what I'm saying? Definitely real healthy. Just super focused, and it's not just right now in this moment, but as I think back. And when I say think back, I'm just going over within the last 5 years how I just been staying the course, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful feeling because when it comes to this fitness, okay, for me it's not a season; it's a way of life, and I constantly highlight that because it's second nature. It's programming oneself in such a great way, right? Because when we're talking about habits and the things that we do on a daily basis, you know, in regard to a routine of such, right? What we do on a daily is a habit in itself. So, you know, to have the habit of doing what is so great for you, you know, you remain in the space to where, you know, you're unaffected for the most part to what is attempting to distract you, take you up your square, to you know, just infiltrate, you know, your everyday progress, and so that's a thing that we all have to on a daily basis as well ignore, and keeping the focus, you know what I'm saying, and there's always room for improvement, okay, because there are things that I don't put as much energy as I do in the workouts with such things, and I just gotta be honest, and that is what I need to exercise too. So again, I'm gonna transfer that level of discipline, consistency, and you know what it is I do with the working out, and how I do have a very strong hold on what it is, you know, that's a greater strength in certain areas than others. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to share that, you know, as always, of course, because we all a work in progress, and every day, you know, we can add on some way, somehow, and initiate different reps and sets outside of the gym, and to again create a better way of how we do things, or a different approach, or redirecting, or resetting, or you know, all of the above, into having a new experience, if you will, in you know, in a broader, in broader aspects of what it is that, you know, we are doing in order to, you know, ex- ex- expand on what else should be tended to in terms of our growth and development and what have you. You heard? So yeah, you know, that's what it is, y'all. But I wanted to, you know, just again, you know, come through tonight. Just like I like it in person, because I'm gonna be honest with you, when I'm not posting as much as I like with the work, you know, I got a problem with that. But what I will guarantee is that, you know, when that opportunity is available to do so, I am there, and you know that. You know what I'm saying? And you know that. And I also wanted to check the temperature with the people, just, you know, whoever may be, who may stop by within the live, and, you know, share something real quick or what have you. Again, it's just necessary that I connect with the community, which, you know what I'm saying, it's what I will do. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely. You feel me? So, and that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I've been on my salad game, and I made a post with, and the salad was delicious. I add the right. Yo, user, are you subscribed to Seven Fitness? Word. But yeah, so I've been on my salad game, and with no carbs, at least when I have my salad, and I'll just add the protein, and I've been feeling so refreshed. You know, I add the olives, the cherry tomatoes. And one thing about, you know what I notice about, speaking of salad, when I add the olives, if you do like olives, um, I, I put less dressing. I never overdo it with the dressing, but the olives really, I like that twang, and it really brings out, um, just adds a more a flavor, you know, to the salad. And I just been feeling real refreshed with that, and that's what it's been lately. And as always, plenty of home cooked meals. I've been bringing my lunch to work, so I just been really. And when we do these things, right, just, you know, pre-prepping and stuff like that, it contributes to just a greater discipline, right?
Yes.
It's feeding that desire to do more. You know what I'm saying? At least for me, and you know, so again, waking up already having, you know, lunch prepared, just starting your day organized. It's very, it's a very good way to start the day in control. You know what I mean? That control. And then with that, it's that at least for me, it gives me the ability to be able to navigate much easier throughout my day, because I'm in the space mentally of where now I'm less unbothered again by these mediocre things that, you know, can sort of, you know, be a nuisance, you know, a pest in a sense, right? You know, dealing with society and is what you're gonna be faced with once you exit your front door, you know. So yeah, you know, and that's what it's been lately, and when I and when I and also when I start my day, and I'm speaking on this because you said, oh, I thought you were talking to me. So also, oh, this is what I wanted to say. I've been getting, I've been, I've been going to sleep a little more earlier, and I've been feeling very, very, even more energized and vibrant and perky throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? Even more so, and I'm already like that. So I just been on the up and up, you know, and this is a great feeling. And you know, listen, again, all of this is outside of the gym because when we're working out, when we're uh, fueling our bodies with the right foods and to function and operate, you know, like as if it's not even enough time in the day to get things done. Not that you lack in anything. I'm talking about if you have the amount of energy to where you got so much done in the day and still have so much time remaining in the day and still full of energy, and that's what I'm speaking about right now too. You know, and even on the weekend today, right? Um, Saturday, of course. I've been up since 5:30 this morning. I already hit the laundromat. I already took care of, you know, some business I had to earlier. Ran a few errands, right? Just in case it do get crazy with the snowstorm. I'm not one of them people where, you know, I already picked up like what I needed throughout the week, so I was already prepared. And this is what I'm saying: the pre-prepping, right? Whatever that may be, and that you need to for the next day or later on that evening. All of this has just in itself been very refreshing, is what I'm talking about, right? So again, today, Saturday, waking up at 5:30 in the morning, already at the laundromat by what 6:30. Okay, during the time of my clothes in the washing machine, I already went to Walmart, Stop and Shop, took care of that, came back, took care of the clothes. Uh, so me and my son went out. You know, we got our hair cut. Um, went to the gym. All I mean, come on, it's 9 o'clock at night. I still got plenty of time to read. If the snow comes tomorrow, I'm ready for that. We already, you know. So this is the thing. You feel me? Again, that pre-prep, that power, that power of control, that um already being, you know, to be ready, right, prepared. Um, it's a great space to be in. You know what I mean? Along with full of energy. You know, it's like in the amount of energy uh, that I possess within this very moment after being up at 5:30, and I mean, it's amazing, and I really enjoy just sharing that. I'm gonna be honest with you because let me tell you, you know, you hear it more often than not. At least I do, where you know a lot of people feedback or statements throughout. You know, it's about being tired and listen. You know, I'm not the one to. I'm listen. I ain't going. I'm not going. I don't knock nobody. I don't know why. You know, we don't know why people are in certain spaces, but I tell you this for sure. Okay, is that if I can help it, and that's why I always say that if I can help it, you feel what I'm saying? We can make a difference in our own life. You heard? We make a make me a moderator, Chris, so I can check these on these comments. Let me see. I got you. Hold on. I got you. You I gave you a wrench, you heard? Yo, make me a moderator, Chris, so I can check these profiles on the comment. Yeah, I got you. I gave you a wrench. Yeah, y'all. So yeah, so I just wanted to yeah, of course. You know, we need to talk about it. And you know, again, it's a way of life. All right. So um and like I said, you know, when we talking about being in that space, right? We're talking about within, right? We're talking about and like I said before, right? When I'm talking about the space, that the space is up here in the mindset, in the dome. You welcome, you already know. Salute. We're talking about the space in the dome, all right? And even on your best day, there are points where you got to clear out that space because, and what I mean is being, because the thing about when I talk about good energy, it's not just, it's not about everything being all good around you, right? I'm talking about being in a good space to where you're able to be in a good space while dealing with spaces that aren't necessarily all good. And that could be very challenging, right? To a degree. So what I'm saying is keeping that, you know, clearing out the space, removing these thoughts, you know, replacing this thought with that thought and stuff like that. So that's what I mean by being in a good space, because at least for me, right, everybody's different. Everybody's energy, everybody's attitude, everybody's daily perceptions or what they're doing or how they're interacting is different. How we cope, how we deal, how we so but one thing for sure, and this is the point I'm getting at, and what I've been making throughout this dialogue, is about feeding and investing in what will allow us to remain in such a space, you know, whether it's strength, right? And that is what it requires, right? When we're talking about discipline, you know, self-control, you know, which is discipline, right? So it's the inner strength of how it is that we are able to keep the focus, implement the very things that again will allow us to be in a certain space. You see what I'm saying? So and that's what I'm getting at tonight and where I've been, so that's where I've been in terms of like, not just in the space, but sort of thinking about it, because there's been certain things that have crossed my path as it does daily, right? With certain interactions, you know, throughout your daily comings and goings, and I just been feeling like a little more sort of like Teflon, you know, and a lot of things that attempt to impede on the focus that I've been having. It just definitely been a little more easier to eliminate, or to eliminate's not even the word I was looking for, to eradicate. You know what I'm saying? To eradicate the pettiness, I've been engaging in less conversations with the things that again, it's gonna take up the space that I don't need in my mind. You know what I mean? So again, it's not just with the working out, and I have to keep going back to the mental aspect, right? So now when I'm in the gym and I'm working out, that's even better, because with having an energy of victorious, right? Because victory isn't just like a grand conquering of some sort, right? A victory comes in levels, right? From the minor to the major, right? You know what I'm saying? I wanted to, give that example also, right? When we're talking about within your day, when you follow through with whatever goal, or whatever you needed to get done, or you didn't, you handled your business. That's a victory. I did that, right? Now it's not to parade, but I'm just saying. But within you, it's a victory. All right, you know what? This person, you tried, with a negative attitude. You try to project that on me, and then now the victory is like, you know what? I ignored that. Instead of me allowing that to draw me in and to give my power away, right? That's a victory within. So in order to be victorious, the very ammo, right, that we equipped ourselves with, literature, spirituality, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know what we could feed our self, nourish ourselves with information, positive, people, places, and things. All of that is a major contribution, right? Along with our own self-investments with the things that nourish you. You know, education, working out, right? Alone time. You feel what I'm saying? So these things, again, bringing it back to clearing the space, putting us in a in an elevated frequency. You know what I'm saying? So at least this past week and the week before that I just been in a better space in that sense, right? So even dealing with like on social media, you know, listening less to, and it's a lot going on that again takes up that space in the brain, and again I was thinking about it because lately I haven't been on social media, you know, looking at the things that I like or what I give my attention to. I'm just being honest, it's a real thing. And I could feel the free up of space, and then me again, when we freeing up the space, then we are replacing, right? Because the brain is a muscle. The brain wants to be fed, right? So it's not about being not like, you know, it's not about, how can I say it? It's not about again, so it'll come to me. But what I'm saying is the brain likes to be fed. So the mind, the spirit, you know what I mean? Who you are, like, you know, there is a need of stimulation, if you will, right? So when we're talking about dopamine, endorphins, and all of that, you know what I'm saying? Like there are healthy ways to obtain that, right? And I'm not talking, like, again, what we're able to offer ourselves, you know what I'm saying, without the phone per se, right? So, and it's just a beautiful space again, because when we're not when we're not engaging or involved in the things that are taking up space that is unproductive, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So that still has to be replaced. It requires that muscle, the brain, to be worked with the things that are actually gonna make a real impact on our life. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could probably say it a different way, but you get my point. You know what I mean? Because it's not like, you know, so what I was trying to say is, like, your brain, like your mind is not, it's not about being dormant of your thoughts and things of that nature. It's about, you know what I'm saying, what it is that, you know, it is really gonna make a difference in the expansion of what that mind in the space of what should be there and what shouldn't, right? Type of deal. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know. So yeah, that's where I was at. Not was, but that's where I'm at, you know. And it's been years though. And that's what I'm saying too. I don't want to leave that part out, right? And I basically I'm saying too, I myself get a little better each day, right? It's been a gradual process And speaking, and this is being brought up tonight due to the new year, but you know, sort of me reflecting, you know, in a sense, right? Because sometimes it's necessary to take a look back and you know, give yourself a comparison to, you know, a part of the old you to who you are now. At least that's how I see it. Okay. Um, and when we talking about the shadow work, as I always mention, you know, because I'm big on the shadow work. You know, anything when with life, you know, it's, I know that it's the ultimate responsibility for me is how I you know, pardon me, y'all, because I, you know, that's my son. He with the toys. I can't nah, do your thing, do your thing. I ain't gonna stop him from doing, you know, we in the living room, but I can do this though. Go ahead, do your thing, son. You good? Go ahead, do your thing. I can do this though. What up? What up? What up? You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah. So, but yeah. So you know, it's just been, G Man, Gray Man, come here real quick. Do me a favor, crack this door right here. Thank you. Hold on, just easy, easy, cause them clothes is hanging right there. That's good. Yeah, that's good. But yeah. So like I was saying, y'all, yeah. So it's just been it's taken me quite some time to, you know, um, and it's an everyday it's a, you know, everyday process. You know what I'm saying, within. You know what I mean. That's really what I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying. I wanted to just you know, share that tonight. You know, because you know, for years, you know, when you I call it like a ball of yarn. You heard? So I call it like a ball of yarn, right? So when, and what I mean is, when I say a ball of yarn, what I mean is this, right? When when you're tangled up, right? I keep it on the eye. I've been tangled up with carrying so much for a long time, right? In terms of, and what I mean is, this is what I mean by carrying so much. It's, you know, it's a lot of undoing of who we've, or who I, let me keep it on the I, who I, you know, have been fighting to not be anymore, right? And so again, I'm speaking of what it was about: attitude, outlook on life, right? Knowing that I don't want, or things that I didn't want to continuously get the best of me in terms of myself. And that's all I'm saying. Like it's a lot I could say, like, but ultimately it's about working on oneself and doing what is required in order to be, again, in the space where you're feeling a little lighter on the inside with the energy, right? Because negative energy is not bad either. Let me just say that too, right? And what I mean is this: because if you're around negative energy, you need to know, all right? You need to know. So I'm not saying that. So what I say, negative energy is not a bad thing, because you need to detect. You need to have discernment, and the energy is gonna let you know, right? Your instinct is going to alarm you to what it is, what you need to, a warning, right? It's going to, so, but again, it's about the discernment, and to, again, be a lighter. When I say lighter on the inside, what I'm saying is it's how what it is that I'm able to control and what I'm not, right? If I need to take a moment to be silent, if I need, again, implementing what is required in order for me to have a high level of understanding within the moment of each point throughout the day, if you will. And that understanding is it's being able to process things and for what it is, and again be able to eradicate what I need to in here, and then embrace what is beneficial. You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm kind of, it's again, it's just a good feeling now more than it has even last year or 2 months ago. You know what I'm saying? It's been a journey for me in terms of, being in a certain space, you know? And it's just a beautiful thing of being conscious about it. Conscious is what? Is to identify. And that's what I'm getting at too. I'm talking about identifying right there on cue, right there on the spot. And then I'm controlling said experience or the moment at hand and what I'm doing, whether it's a task, it's a person, my own thoughts that try to sway me. So it's just been feeling good lately to where being in a more of a controlled space within. You know what I'm saying? So Yeah, I wanted to share that. Yo, Gus, it's crazy. It's not, I don't even want to call it crazy. Again, let me add on to what's going on in the chat right now, right? Um, it's not, it's this is bigger than the chat, right? And this is why this conversation is needed, right? In this world, you got people amongst you every day. See, again, once this device is off and you put it down wherever you at, and I want everybody to listen clear, right? No doubt. I'm deaf. Thank you, sir. But I want to mention this, right? As I've said this before, we're dealing with a we're dealing with a mental battle every single day with society, with people, even people in their own homes are at war, are dealing with conflict, unfortunately. You have spouses, you have siblings, you have family members, you have friends who are belittling, who are microaggression, undermining, belittling, uh, passive aggression, sarcasm, um, insults, favoritism, cheating, betrayal, throwing people under the bus, gossip, backstabbing, right? And we're talking about in real life where people's lives are really being affected in real life. So when we're talking about the internet and trolls and chats, it's just unfortunate that somebody would, or who's making these remarks, this is where their mind is at. Me personally, I take no offense to it. And I've said this because, and people who are familiar with what I share about me, I'm very used to self-sabotaging my own self. For a long time in my life, I've had negative thoughts about my own self. That's why I highlight being in a certain space and things of that nature. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's very important. That's why I like to have these dialogues, right? Because a lot of people are battling within jealousy, envy, feeling inadequate, feeling left out, you know, feeling unheard, feeling unseen. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. So, when we talking about trolls on the internet and stuff, I got a whole live that I did on that. I see it in public. Again, I see people, couples, talking in public disrespectfully. I mean, is that trolling or is that something that needs some mediation. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So again, when we talking about, and that's why it's good that we have these dialogues, because the mental aspect, when dealing with real life, sometimes it's not so easy, or that, yeah, it's not so easy to uh, take the gym approach, take the workout approach to cope with life. Some A lot of people, it's beyond a workout or the gym to get the mental right. But I'm so grateful that fitness has been one of my main go-tos to help me get right. And so when we talking about judgment, so when we talking about clearing the space, and this is perfect for me to talk about clearing the space, because like I just said, even with my own thoughts, this can be a major distraction, or has been a major distraction, has uh prevented me from going forward. Right, I got to keep it on the eye. And but it's just a real thing, right? All the things that I just mentioned that people battle with, right? And it may even go deeper than that. I'm not going to even go down the whole abuse thing, right? You know what I'm saying? So what we're seeing on the internet, we're amongst such individuals in real life right now. But it's a difference in real life, because people aren't so outwardly like on the internet, where somebody would type and make a comment or a post, right? That is, there's a barrier, right? There is no contact, right? There's no proximity. So it's the perfect place for people to vent or express themselves in a negative way, right? But that doesn't change the mindset of the people that we're around. And the thing is that the thing is that I could be, it's things that I could pick out. We all could uh we all could mention the obvious flaws in the next person, but that's weak. You know what I'm saying? That's weak. So, like I said, I just I understand that it goes beyond the internet, man. We dealing with the same people that's on this internet is in real life, and they got the real mindset, at your workplace, again, in your social circles, right? Um, family, you know what I'm saying? So, yo, it ain't no joke. You know what I'm saying? The dark spaces that people carry on the forefront of their minds. You know what I'm saying? The hatred. That again, that's what I'm saying. Want to be light on the inside, right? Because when when one is carrying jealousy, envy, hate, judgment, that's a weight. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to see the next person do a good. That's a weight. Because when a person, think about it, when a person doesn't want or doesn't like to see other people do good, the weight is that you can't control that, and you're always going to see somebody doing well, whether it's direct or indirect within your observation, what you're witnessing every single day with, you know, with that type of negative energy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's unfortunate for those individuals. You dig? That's what it is. So that's why it's perfect that when I'm talking about the space and feeling light, again, I'm going back to that, feeling light within the things that are antagonistic, the things that are provoking, the things that are aiming to get you out of character, right? Is becomes less impactful. You see, now we human. Don't get me wrong. Things could build up. Tolerance becomes at an all-time low at times, right? We're not gonna deal with disrespect. It's levels to it. It's levels. All right. However, for the most part, though, it doesn't need to go to certain lengths to where you'll compromise your life or your freedom. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep that on the forefront of, again, protecting how we subject ourselves to the very things, whether directly or indirectly, that's able to be controlled by good judgment, wisdom, self-respect, integrity. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's again, it's a very real thing. And yeah, so this definitely was a, and I probably could have said more. You know what I mean? As always, and I always say that, right? Because things do come to mind, and you know, things do come to mind, and in terms of what I uh, could have said or wanted not come, or wouldn't have, or did not come to mind, at the time of the, actual live in itself, So, but again, like I always say, the mental health, and so when we have these dialogues, and like I said, in the space within where you're feeling lighter in the heart, right? And the thing is too, let me just say this: when we're talking about feeling lighter, one thing for sure, at least when you're conscious about doing the right thing, right? Um, Having genuine intentions, um, giving people the benefit of the doubt, right? Um, Being, not trying to be understood, right? Because some people just won't get you. You know what I'm saying? And that's where you are able to, at least for me, able to, take pressure off myself. And that's what I'm ultimately saying too, is that pressure is not a bad thing, but negative pressure, it's not good. You know, when, especially when you especially when you're beating yourself up mentally. You know what I'm saying? And so that's not good. But again, being light on the inside, I identifying. I'm gonna go back to that. Identifying with what it is that you recognize, that I need to do better, and with this particular mindset. You know what I'm saying? With a certain attitude, outlook, and all of that. You know, so, and that's the thing. Again, being light on the inside. You know, and being in control of you and what you can't on the outside. And let me tell you, right? And it starts with something as simple as being patient while driving. I'm just using that, and that's a real thing, right? So instead of me, I just, even not raising my voice. Now, thoughts come to the mind. It's just in these moments that could be a habit too, where you could it starts there. You know what? I'm gonna be patient with the driver in front of me, right? If it starts there, and then it becomes a stronger and stronger characteristic of how dealing with something that, and I use driving because when you're on the road, you're constantly gonna deal with somebody cutting in front of you, doing something that is very annoying, very can aggravate you. But I'm just saying. So it's that's how I'm able to strengthen what it is that makes me stronger with, again, keeping myself in an even keel within. You see what I'm saying? Um, and I just want to say this too before I get off the live. been here for me. It don't even feel like I was on here that long, yo. But I wanted to say, so when we talking about vibrations, you got high vibrations and low vibrations. And I don't see, because when we talking about frequency within, or high energy and low energy, you know, and this is, I was thinking about this the other day. Let me say this before I get off the chat. And I'm gonna bring this topic up in itself another day. And this is just, see, when we're talking about energy and stuff, one thing about me, I like to have my own um analogies and how it is that I really see um things in my own way of making sense, right? Of certain, of anything, right? You got to have an open mind, right? You have to think for yourself, right? So let's leave it there. But anyway, let me get to saying what I'm gonna say, right? When we talking about energy, right? Because you know a lot of, and I hear it, you know, your higher self, your lower self, right? And a lot of that pertains, like your mind, right? Is your higher self, then your lower self would be, you know,
Because didn't I tell you to stop what I said?
you know, everything below, right? So hold on, y'all. You heard me?
Yeah.
Chill out. You heard me?
Yeah.
Yeah, pardon me, y'all. Had to interfere, you know, father. But this is what I wanted to say though, right? When we talking about energy, the higher self would be the mind, you know, above your lower self. Your lower self would be your lower extremities and all that. You get that, right? What I wanted to say though, when we talking about high energy and low energy, they both of them have a purpose. And when I say, because you can have high energy and it could be negative. This is how I see it. Now, and I mean, I've never heard it. Uh, I've never heard it broken down in this. This is how I see it, right? You can have high energy, but that high energy could be elevated, right? Because if you're angry, right? If you're having an outburst, if you're raising your voice and you're upset, all right, you could say that's a low energy because of the lack of self control. You know your lower self, right? I would say, right. But it's still a high. It's an elevated energy. It's still high. It's still um. It's still gaining the attention of the environment around, right? It's still a high energy. It may be negative, but it's still high. It's still alarming. It's still offensive. It's still um, concerning, right? To people within the proximity, or, you know, from a distance or whatever. But if it's, uh, you know, again, a case in which, you know, somebody is angry, it's a high energy, right? And you can call it a low energy because it's a person with uh, uh, lack of self control, right? But it's still a human emotion. But then you can have low energy, right? Some people, right? When I say, and low energy could be good. The reason why I say that, right? Because low energy, if I'm dealing with a person, think about it now. Hear me out. If I'm dealing with a person that's negative, now I'm not talking about an argument, but I'm just talking about somebody with a negative attitude, right? I'm going to give you a low energy, meaning I'm going to be less. And if I have to deal with this person, let's just say that, right? I'm going to give you a low energy. A low energy meaning that, you know, I'm going to talk less, right? Um you're going to have the least interaction from me, right? In order for me to not add fuel to the fire per se, right? I need to have a low energy, meaning I need to keep myself. When I say low energy, I'm talking about my tone, my demeanor, right? Not getting elevated in the moment and making a situation worse because I know I'm dealing with a certain type of individual that doesn't require much energy, which is a lower energy, right? But then you have an upbeat energy where you're happy, right? You have a high energy of where you're more talkative, you're more social, right? You're more engaging. You see what I'm saying? So when I see energy, I look at it in a different way of when we're talking about the high and low energy. But then you have the low energy, right? Let's just say where a person's intention is just for the sake of fornication or you know um, sexual desires. You know what I'm saying? I got to keep it low because I got my little man in here, right? But so I understand that too, right? When you're going up for the low frequency of something when you just want the opportunity to, you know what I'm saying, have a sexual encounter, but you don't want to get the to know the mind of the person, right? So that's the thing too. I get it all, but it's absolutely. Shout out to Old Dog. You already know. Good live, good live. Have fun. Got to drop. Got it. Got to dip, bro. Hit me, Chris, so we can run a push-up set. Good night, y'all. Hit the like and subscribe, y'all. Appreciate you, Gus. Word up. Yo, shout out to Games Brothers, y'all. Yo, go check out Games Brothers too, his channel, you heard? I had the pleasure of meeting the brother too at the Settle It on the Bars event in the Bronx. Yo, Gus, your energy was even more if you're still in the building, but the energy was even better in real life. You know what I'm saying? And much gratitude for coming forth tonight on the chat, showing your support. You know what I'm saying? Eradicating the trolls and all that. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you. Word up. You know what I'm saying? Indeed. You know? Yeah. So yeah, holla at me. You know, we could run that. I'll be seeing y'all too. On a playback a lot of times. But so like I said, y'all, when I'm talking about the energy, again, it's many different levels to when we talking about energy, frequency, and that space within. And like I said, it just requires a lot of clearing out, a lot of, like, just like landscaping, just like storage, right? Energy, your storage feeding your phone. This analogy applies to us, removing, and replacing with better, right? So just like you gotta, clean out the gutter, you gotta, clean out the vents, right? You gotta get a oil change. Oh, everything. These analogies just apply. Everything coming full circle of life of a process. You see what I'm saying? Of freeing, right? Of just like the very season we're in now, the winter time. It's a reason for this is a cleansing time. With all that snow, the snow, it's getting rid of a lot of debris, right? The things that we don't pay attention to per se. You see what I'm saying? It's good for killing germs and stuff like that. And so this is what I'm talking about. So the same process of freeing up space within the tangibles around us is the same thing in our minds, and that's all I was saying tonight, and what I wanted to get at. You feel what I'm saying? Because you know, it's indeed Huss. You already know it's games, bro, for sure. All day, every day, we gaining. You know, and that's the thing. It's speaking about games, right? Let's use that as an analogy. You got to get rid of, right? We have to get rid of dead weight in order to gain. You see what I'm saying? So in order to gain, you got to sacrifice. All right? So, you know, again, man, so I just wanted to say that, you know, because it's a journey for me. And like I said, along with the working out and along with me doing a lot of undoing, a lot of identifying what it is to be in a better space in my dome. It's what I wanted to share tonight, and to get that mental exercise. You know, that mental exercise. You know what I mean? Because without the mind, it's over for the body. You know what I'm saying? And when the mind is not right, it's like a person who is mentally conflicted, right? You'll neglect yourself. You're not brushing your teeth, right? You're not dealing with refinement anymore. You're not, right? So all of that goes to the wayside, right? You're not washing your clothes, right? All of that. So again, the mind got to be right. And we got to let up, we got to remove, we got to lighten the load within. You feel what I'm saying? And replace, right? Less is more, as they say. And have a way that analogy could pertain to you. Apply that. Less is more. What do I need less of to gain more of, right? What do I need less of to gain more, right? And to gain more abundance, right? To gain more of a love for life, right? To gain more focus, to gain more appreciation, to gain more gratitude, right? To gain more blessings, right? To gain more financially, right? To gain more educational, right? But it's going to need the removal of what is taking up space and preventing what it is we truly need to gain. And that's a process. Straight like that. Every day. Temptation, old habits. You see what I'm saying? And that's when we're talking about the subconscious mind, which is influenced by the conscious mind. Because what the conscious mind is absorbing and practicing on the daily, the subconscious mind accepts it as normal. And that's when we do things on autopilot. That's why when we could deprogram ourselves. Of course, we're not a computer, but the thing is that we have the ability to do, and we're going to deal with a great amount of resistance, right? When we're doing something that we aren't used to doing, we got to build up that tolerance. We got to build up that habit. We got to implement it repetition with repetition. And then eventually that will be downloaded in the subconscious mind. That's when it become second nature. You see what I'm saying? And it's not easy. It ain't easy. It's not easy to just put this phone down. I battle with it too. You see what I'm saying? I mean, being honest. Because we've been doing this for a very long time now. This has now very much a part of the human existence. You know what I mean? This thing is on our hip every day. Powerful, bro. Sometimes gains is removing waste, having less, dumping negatives. Yes, again, what do I need to get rid of to gain more? You know what I'm saying? What do I need to get rid of to gain more? To gain more self-control. To gain more of what is going to take me to another level. That's going to propel me forward. That's going to clear the path in my mind. That's going to make temptation less tempting. You might have to get rid of your woman to gain more. And I'm glad you said that, FBA, and not get rid of the woman to gain more in terms of automatically a new relationship, but to gain more to get back to yourself, right? Because if you're in a toxic relationship, and that goes back to what I was talking about with the trolling, right? Trolling, that's just a word for the internet, but trolling it's still a definition of somebody to bring about a negative experience in someone else, to bring about conflict, right? So that's perfect for what I was saying earlier. You know what I'm saying? So yes, sometimes we have to get rid of that spouse in order for you to gain more within you, right? And sometimes it's not even the other person's fault. See, I don't want to say that. See, we got to see things both ways. When it comes to relationships, it's not just one person's fault either, right? Because relationships fail without the accountability of self. What part did I play? What did I accept? Right? What did I ignore as a red flag? Right? Where did I lack? You feel what I'm saying? So, and that's the beauty of when we go through what it is within these major changes in our life. You see what I'm saying? Again, the identifying. You know what I'm saying? Self-accountability. Right? Taking a look in the mirror. Right? Not just in your bathroom. The mirror of what you're looking at and here. You see what I'm saying? It's very hard for a person to admit to oneself. That's power. And see, that's when we are able to remove, right? Because once we identify, once we accept, and when I say accept, we don't have to hold on. I accept the constructive criticism. I accept the accountability. I accept my shortcomings. But I don't hold on to it, right? I analyze it. I pinpoint. Then I start to dismantle every day. By way of identifying triggers. Identifying familiar habits, thoughts. Again, it's all in here. You see what I'm saying? So the process of clearing out space, just like anything, if you look at see, we can hoard. There's a lot of stuff hoarded in here over the years, at least for me, right? There's a lot of stuff hoarded in here. You got to remove this, you got to spray this, you got to get the dust off of that, you got to get the debris off of that, you got to get rid of that, you got to put stuff in boxes. You got to repack this stuff. You may have to search a little bit. You got to figure out, do I want to get rid of this? Do I want to get rid of that? I had this for a long time. You see what I'm saying? Yo, I'm saying it's like that. You know what I mean? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful chat tonight, you heard? You know what I'm saying? But it's like I said, it's a real thing. So the mental fitness, right? And then the working out, like I always say, that's a space where, again, you could reassure yourself, you know, realign the mind and the body, and develop solution in the moment, clearing your thoughts, right? Because, and that's another way to free up the space and replace with something better. So when you're working out, you clearing your thoughts. Hold on, I ain't like this, I ain't like that. I need to change this, I need to change that. I want to. And then while you're clearing your mind, you're gaining self-assurance. I can do this. You know what? I went to the gym today instead of going to get that bottle. You know what? I ain't even smoked today. It's steps. Damn, I like this feeling. I ain't even roll all day. I ain't roll up. Steps. Less is more. So again, the things that we definitely need to do less of with that, what are we now gaining more from? So, you know, that's the beautiful thing. And every waking day, right? However way you start your day, we can start on the right frequency. Whatever that way and how you take that approach, we all have a different way of doing so. But an hour from now, like they say, yeah, the edibles is much better. I recommend the edibles, and don't overdo it with that. And I fell back from the edibles, FBA. You feel what I'm saying? Like you know what I mean? That's what I every once in a while partake in. It'll be it'll be 6 years. This September will be 6 years that I smoke bud. This year, September, will be 6 years since and I feel fantastic about that. But yeah, I fell back from the edibles. Because, yo, FBA, even that is a mood altering. I love being in a clear space up here. That's just me, though. Yo, even when I partake with the edibles, for me personally, it's still it's still a feeling like, yo, I'm not at my sharpest. I'm just keeping. I mean, that's just really what it is. I'm not at my sharpest. You know what I'm saying? And so, even without, you know what I'm saying, being consumed with any controlled substance, some like with a clear mind, sometimes I don't feel my sharpest. So with that, I really like, you know what I'm saying? So if I'm so when I partake with that, I'll be like 90%. I'll be 90% in the sharp range. And I like to be 100%. I like to be spunky with my thoughts. With you know what I mean? And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna keep it a thou wow. Right? Being that you mentioned that. That's my word. I've been under the influence and been live, like on a workout or whatever the case, or come down a little bit, and it interfered with my delivery. Even right now, I'm clear as a glass bottle. But when I'm making a point in my delivery, sometimes like I gotta, in the moment, I gotta gather my point. I gotta, make sure that, you know what I'm saying. I need to make sense of what I'm saying. You know what I mean? This ain't scripted, right? I'm looking at the chat. I want to follow the subject at hand, right? I'm answering questions, so it's a few things going on. You feel what I'm saying with this process, and I enjoy it all. But and it's a great way to help me, get better with, my correspondence, my delivery. You know what I'm saying, and but I like being in my own natural frequency. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. I like to be in my own frequency. And that's the thing, FBA, and I've said this, and I always, due to the many years of me indulging, I used to smoke wild bud. And it only made me appreciate having a clear, sober mind now at its optimal. My appearance and everything. I remember, I'm gonna tell you this, right? When I was smoking weed, I gotta keep it low because, like I said, my little man in there, they be listening, and he don't know me for that. So when I was smoking weed, right, in the back of my teeth, back here, I had a dark brown stain, and I noticed that one day, right? Because when I hit the jibs, when I get that, what I'm saying, a thorough brush. And I look in the back, And back here, it was like a brown stain. I'm looking at my teeth, I'm like, damn, my joints in here. I remember my son said to me, he was like, my son was like, he was like two or three. He said, Daddy, why your teeth yellow? You heard? But yo, check it out though, right? So I had a brown stain back there, right? When I stopped smoking, brush my joint, it's gone. Ain't no brown in them teeth, you heard? Lips was brown, the fingertips was brown. So, and again, like, and I've said this, I remember those photos in the health textbook in high school. The healthy lung, the unhealthy lung, the healthy liver, and the unhealthy liver, right? And I always knew that. I always envisioned the damage that I was doing on the inside, but along with those photos, the information, I also knew that your lungs and your liver, those organs have the ability to heal and to get back in its original condition. So, for the many years that I smoked, right now I could confidently say I could say my lungs are pink. Again, the color that they should be. You know what I'm saying? And when we value, you know what I'm saying, ourselves, we take pride in making sure that we do the right thing with eating, working out. Again, my point is, all the damage that I've done over the years has only increased the value of doing right for myself now. I knew I was counterproductive, depending on the amount of damage you've done to them. Right. But the thing is though, it goes back to what I was saying though, FBA. If a person's been smoking for, let's say, 15, 20 years, the moment you stop, at least you or that individual is able to make a difference and not just stop, because it's not just the stopping, right? Because with stopping, we can't leave out that for that process to really be effective, we got to change our diet and do the things that the body needs for that process to be more efficient and to give the body the vitamins, the minerals, and what it needs to really again, you know, have a stronger way to replenish, because that's a process. It would take years too. Let me just say that it's gonna take years for that to, you know, get back in the condition of its original state. You see what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing, right? We have to accept that, right? A person has to accept that if I've been doing And again, even with the bad habits, it the process. Everything is a process, straight up. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. Everything is a process. You heard? And the process requires requires patience, the due diligence, um, fighting temptation, you know, all that. You see? So, you know, and that's the thing. But each day, you know what I'm saying? We could tap into that victory. You know what I'm saying? The more that we stay the course, you know, each successful day, you know, that, you know, we doing what is needed to make that daily contribution for that process to be at its best. You see what I'm saying? So things take time. You know, great things. It's a process. You know, I remember this. It's a particular tree. I forget the origin or where it's, but nonetheless, it's a tree that grows like one of the biggest trees in the world, but it takes like some of like 20 years before it actually uh breaks through the surface. But once that tree grows to its maximum growth, it's one of the biggest trees, one of the strongest trees in the world. And that, again, the process. Now, when we thinking realistic, even with the working out, and when we thinking about now, nobody wants, you shouldn't have to wait a year to see some significant gains, but sometimes the journey is longer for some than others, especially depending on the route that you're taking without, you know, enhancements and things of that nature, right? But it's a process, and the process is the ultimate challenge of being self-assured, knowing that you are that daily contribution is leading up to the results that one desires. You feel me? So, but the process, with that process, there will be doubtful days, um, feeling stagnated. You know, a lot of it is mental, right? Uh, Even people, you know, so I want to say this. Even people can interfere with the process. And what I mean is, when you are doing something different for yourself that your social circle may be familiar with your routine or what you are known to be about, per se, in terms of smoking and drinking, right? And you start working out. I would say don't even tell people that you starting your workout journey. And the reason why, people people can make comments that are discouraging, that will make a person question themselves. So for example, a person could simply say, "Oh, you starting to work out now?" Or it's been 2 months and I don't see a difference. Like people, are bold like that. You know what I'm saying? So I would keep it to yourself. Whether it's working out or anything, when you taking a different path, the process doesn't need to be shared. And that's basically what I'm saying too. You know what I'm saying? So we have to have a method in how we do what's best for us. And that's what I'm saying. You know, gotta have a method. And one thing for sure, the less negative comments in real life, right? Less is more. The less you share with the people who don't have your best interests at heart, the more you able to stay focused on your progress. You know, and that's really what it is, staying focused without the distraction of a conversation that's now taking over your mind when you're doing whatever's needed to invest in that process of whatever that change or goal or difference you want to make for yourself. You feel me? So everything is a process, man. And I guess that sums it up. I've been on here for a minute. That sums it up. You know what I'm saying? That the process, it's a process, and at least that's my take on it. And we could speed up the process, we could slow down the process, we could be so it's in betweens with the process too, because depending on how quick you progress or elevate and stuff like that, you may reach that goal much quicker. So, let's not be discouraged by the process, but these are what to expect. It's a journey. Even with the working out, again, it's a journey. You know what I'm saying? So, along with building the muscle, you want to make sure you got strong joints, tendons, ligaments, right? The entire anatomy is very significant to how healthy and how well you function and operate. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is, man. It's a process. This life is a process. So we got to weed out. We got to get rid of the weeds that we've developed along the way. You know what I'm saying? We got to get rid of the weeds. And we got to re-nourish the soil. We got to replant. We got to uproot, right? Replace with new roots or a seed. We got to uproot and you know what I'm saying? We got to expand the pot, right? Get a bigger pot. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Can I help you lose weight? Yeah. I mean, eat less, work out, take yourself serious, you know, and stay the course. You know what I'm saying? You could do it, you know, so you definitely could lose weight, you know, but see, this is the thing though, and that's a whole nother conversation. Losing weight is just one aspect of it, you know, because, you know, a person, you could lose all the weight in the world, and that's all you did was lose weight. And without the strength training, without the working out, um, you are you're not you're not gonna reap the full benefits of um, getting a better physique and you know, becoming stronger. You know, you know, losing weight is just one aspect. You heard? You run four, okay. You run 4 miles a day. That's good. Do your strength training though. Sprint. Switch it up. All the running, walking, and jogging, I get. You know what I'm saying? You know, you sprint. Do your sprints. Sprints is explosive. Sprint and do push-ups. You know, build that strength. You know, when you lose the weight, while you losing the weight, you know you wanna develop your physique at the same time. You know, you want to get stronger. You know, you can lose weight and still have a weak body. You know, so let me get up out of here though, y'all. Yeah, I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? I said enough. We can revisit the topic. It's a process, like I said. You know, so you know we get the point. Like I said, it was removing. You know, just again, uh, like I said, you know, offering yourself more space within. All right, and if you need to play back the video, you know what I'm saying, do that. Yo, I'm out of here. You feel me? Word. And it's still fairly early. It's 10:38. Wow. Um, Again, y'all appreciate y'all. Yo, big shout out to the chat for y'all who had hit the like button and all that. Um, and this is what it's about. You know, we gotta tap into that mental fitness. Um, it's more important than anything, you know. And with that mind right, major contribution to your body, to your temple. Breathe. That's life. Breathe. Value your lungs. All right? Value how you treat this physical vehicle, this temple that you only get one, uno. All right? The breath of life. Don't take it for granted. Breathe. Honor that. Value that. Give thanks. Have gratitude. Another opportunity. Yo, life is amazing. I'll catch you on the next go around. Appreciate y'all. You heard? Huss. Peace.